Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Chris the Dime One, and I am back with another video. Rate, comment, subscribe. Really doesn't matter if you're old or new to my channel. Hit that notification bell so it'll let you know when my next video or live stream goes down. Let's get into it. The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead episode called Buried. This episode is talking about the perspective of Naomi, Allison, I think Luciana. They all had their perspective of what transpired of last Sunday's episode. And last Sunday's episode was about Nick dying. Nick dying because of the little girl shot him. And it's kind of funny and ironic how he died if you look at it as a cinematic camera effect. It showed the perspective of Nick falling to the ground, and a lot of people didn't pick up that perspective, because that was the same perspective Nick had from Nick's eyes, from Nick's point of view, when he rose up from him being high at this church of episode 1, season 1, episode 1. And I thought, when I saw that, I immediately started thinking about that. I'm like, wow, the cinematography, how they did Nick dying is the same perspective when Nick rose from being drugged out all night from a party of season 1, episode 1. So I thought that was good. Anywho, they all talked about their perspective of what transpired that day, and all three of them talked about how their instincts, their gut was telling them to leave and run off from the baseball stadium that Madison is trying to make into a community. They all bought into Madison's logic that we're just going to stay here and we're going to try to make the best of it, because there's no need to run. Why run? Start all over, and something's going to transpire, something's going to happen where there's conflict. We just can't keep running every time there's every time something goes down. We got to take a stand. And that was Madison's point of view, Madison's perspective. And Luciana, Allison, and I forgot the Indian girl, they all had a perspective. And even Nick had a perspective of, we need to just get while the getting's good and leave this baseball stadium, because outside the baseball stadium there's like a small group of a small group that basically told Madison and his group and her group that if they just give up the guns and just leave, everything will be fine. And Madison is having a standoff type of approach. Like, we're just going to wait this out, and eventually one or two things are going to transpire. Either you're going to just leave, or we're going to have to fight for what's right, holding down this baseball stadium. So all three of the characters had perspectives, and they all said in their gut was telling them, their instincts were telling them to leave, because there was nothing to fight for that baseball stadium. Luciana already loaded up supplies for like 2 people, and he was already about to leave Madison. Nick and her girl and his girlfriend, they were making plans to seek out another location to call their own. And Allison had second thoughts as well, particularly with Naomi, because Naomi tried to run away from Allison, okay? and Allison, you know, and Naomi almost got away, but Naomi's truck, the Range Rover that she spotted, was out of gas. So Allison convinced Naomi there's no sense of running. We just have to go to the baseball stadium and, you know, make of it. All right. So at the end of them all telling their stories, they all were consistent in saying that if they listened and followed their gut and followed their instincts, Nick would still be alive. And they all feel kind of guilty that, yo, if we just did what our instincts were telling us to do, Nick would be alive, and you know, life would go on. Okay, so all three characters feel a little guilt because they didn't follow their instincts, and if they did follow their instincts, Nick would still be alive. Okay, now they all told their stories to this journalist who has this SWAT truck, and when they go to, she's thinking that she's driving them to bury Nick someplace, and come to find out, they just gave her what she wanted, but they wanted to basically dig up these guns that they buried, and that was the whole purpose of them going to this location. But they still was going to bury Nick. Morgan made a suggestion that, hey, y'all said Nick likes to grow a lot, so they buried Nick under this oak tree. Okay, which that was kind of cinematic in itself from a perspective of The Walking Dead. That's that oak tree symbolized where Negan died. Well, could have died, but he got saved by Rick and them. But you know, it is what it is. It might not be no connection, but that's the connection I grasp from it. Okay, so in essence, they're going to go back and kill the guy that started. Kill the guy in his group that started all this, and they basically said everyone's the baseball stadium is no more. Everyone in the community done died off, even Naomi, which the Gunslinger been searching for Naomi since he talked about it in episode 1. All right, so come to find out, the woman that he kept talking about, they all she was living in the same community with the other 3 as well as the other people. So now they're gonna go back and you know, fight this. The Gunslinger wanted to be left alone because he wanted to grieve, and Morgan decided to tag along. Morgan said throughout the episode, once they buried Rick, he was just going to go on his own separate way because he felt like he works better alone. But he was feeling kind of some sympathy towards the Gunslinger, so he stayed with the Gunslinger, and that's pretty much where the episode ended. Right. So next Sunday, we're going to hear the other half of it on how they lost the baseball stadium and how so many people died, including Naomi. All right, so that's going to be a subplot story for next week when the lady drives them back to that location, and I'm pretty sure they're going to have a subplot story with Morgan and the Gunslinger. Right. And that's pretty much it. I thought it was a good show. I like the way how they illustrated the story. Like I said in my other live stream on The Walking Dead, they sort of instead of have this main story and then everybody has their own sub story, they decided to make it one big story, but talk about that story from 2 different perspectives. from the present and in the past. Okay, sort of in the past was like a narrative of what transpired and why they're in the position that they are today in the present. And I thought that was a good way of you know, of how to tell this story of Fear the Walking Dead, as well as Morgan's sub story, how he uh, 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 got with this show. I mean, how he came to the show, and they told his backstory. So I thought it was a good thing. And we're gonna have to wait and see what transpired. But guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Dom One, and I am out. Deuces.